The beginning is the end, and the end is the beginning. We are just now figuring out what wildcard meant by saying this to us over and over again. It turns out Sanctuary not only held secrets, but answers to some of the questions that we had in the form of holograms that hung from buildings and the sides of ledges. These holograms actually shed some light on what happened to the city and where things are pointing with Arat Prime. And for the first time to my knowledge, we are about to decode one live on video for you to see what secrets these actually hold within them. And I'm sure they are some of the most important messages we will see pointing towards Ark 2. So all you need to do is equip a tech helmet. Once you have your tech helmet equipped, you will be able to see text underneath these holograms, and the text is pretty straightforward. Sometimes it's a little bit damaged because, well, they're damaged in general, so you'd expect that. Without any further waiting, let's see what the people before us had to say that was so important to leave behind for us. Please do not touch. Oh man, this is please do not touch the plants. No, but in all seriousness, guys, these things actually do have some important messages, and I need to share them with you because there's actually a story within a story happening here, and I like it because when there's a story within a story, naturally, and I guess logically, you come to the assumption and point of interest that, hey, there's something else happening in another story that we need to be told, and we have more reading to do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to each of these individual floating or whatever hologram things, and we're going to see what each one has to say, because I know for a fact some of these mention a place called Arat Prime. Now, what is Arat Prime? In my last video, I actually told you guys about this. Arat Prime is actually what we believe to be potentially the launching site for the Arks and the ARK program. However, that is a less than amazing answer to the question. I would highly suggest you check out my last ARK lore video to find out what Arat Prime is and what the direction of ARK is exactly. I'll leave a link in the comment section of the video. Now, I know these things probably have some kind of particular order. However, I don't know that order, so I'm not even going to try and categorize or put them in order. And I do know there are different colors. There is white, there is pink, and there is yellow. I have yet to see anything else a different color, and I think these are only found in Sanctuary, unfortunately. So, let's see what this city has to tell us. The first note we come across is Overseer Protocol in progress. Lock down your station. So, okay, the Overseers, I'm not sure what that is pointing towards, to be honest with you. There is another note right here. This one says, Overseer Protocol in process, lock down your station. So again, the same message in pink. That's kind of interesting. I'm just wondering what the Overseer Protocol is, unless maybe that's something to do with the Arks, because on the Arks, we defeat Overseers to move on to the next. Oh boy. Let's find the next one. Okay, it seems like there's actually one down right here too. Some of these don't actually have text as well, which is kind of unfortunate, but okay. Emergency rationing is in effect. Violations will result in immediate punishment. So they were under rationing law. Resources must have been attacked, and during those attacks, rations and food, water, whatever you may call it, were getting low? Okay, let's see. This is a pink one. I'm not sure what the pink ones are about. Hostile forces are inbound. Proceed to your nearest shelter. Okay, so this has something to do with the war then, I assume. Hostile forces. Yeah, I'm assuming this has something to do with the war, or maybe it even goes into the corruption. And then emergency rationing is in effect. Okay, so that's the same one on another location. Maybe this is where the shelters were housed then, seeing as this seems to have the most damage of the structures. I would imagine, because like it's got ripped apart down there. Oh, Arat Prime is locked down. Emergency launch initiated. Proceed to nearest shelter. What? Hang on a second. Arat Prime is locked down. Emergency launch initiated. Proceed to nearest shelter. Were they trying to launch the Arks? Was that their goal? What? Hang on. Why would they announce that to the general population of the city? That's the thing. Like, you have women and children and men that have to take shelter from an inbound force. Why would that matter? Why would they have that as a public message? Maybe Arat Prime was to be seen as their salvation, and they would go to Arat Prime? Okay. We got another one right here about Arat Prime. Arat Prime have gone silent. Launch was not confirmed. A launch of the Arks, I assume Arat Prime have gone silent. Launch was not confirmed. I assume Arat Prime was being attacked during the posting of these holograms. Why are they mentioning a place like Arat Prime in the city, though? Was this city's sole purpose to make Arat Prime launch? Was that what they were trying to do? Overseer protocol in progress. Lock down your stations. Overseer protocol in progress. Switching to automated. So they had automated systems as well. Warning, this is a level 4 alert. Hostile forces are inbound. Again, another alert of an impending attack. I found one of these white holograms. Manual override initiated. Hostile forces inbound. I wonder if these signify different people or different systems enacting different things and leaving messages. Wait, this one's different. Okay. Arat Prime have gone silent. Launch was not confirmed. Again, this one is here in a different location. Oh, wait, there's another white one right here, too. What is this one gonna say? Let's see. Manual override initiated. Hostile forces inbound. Wait, wasn't there another one over right here then? Did I already see that one? Hostile forces are inbound. That one is there as well. This one reads, A7 priority communication received. Arat Prime is locked down. They really, like, this was super important. This is a level 5 alert. Arat Prime has gone silent. Oh, okay. They got alerts going on now. That's kind of, oh man, I need to learn more about this. This is so cool. It's like they skipped pages in a novel and just took sentences and left them in the game for us as teasers. That is so cool. We have a residence here. Someone, what? Something Zang. I know that's a name. Residence Y114-44. Barrett Residence Y115-45. What? Hang on. Why is a resident? What? And then I assume this is the same deal right here? Livingstone Plaza closed. Y124-16. This was the plaza, I assume? And what? That's actually kind of interesting. So they use these hologram messages to get word out to people. Vasco Residence Z126-88. And then Cabot Express Z127-81. If you guys are seeing any correspondence or remembering anything because of these numbers or anything, you should leave a comment down below. I feel like they may have some significance here that I just don't know about right now. I feel like it's more than just numbers and letters detailing things. There has to be something behind those. All Gamma level personnel proceed to your nearest shelter. I assume Gamma level personnel would be just civilians in general. Maybe? Yeah, I feel like that would be that. Hang on, I didn't see this one during my entire time flying through the city. Warning, hostile contact, defensive barrier active. Defensive barrier, was there a barrier all around Sanctuary? Did they have like their own tech? That'd be cool as hell if they did. That would be super cool. 7 priority, communication received, Arat Prime locked down. And I think that's it for every one of the decoded messages that we could find. That seems like it's all for everything we had seen in the way of those floating holograms that have messages. I think what we can do is decode these now and try to piece together what's happened. I also have some relevant information from Felix as well. So I'm going to go down through that and see if you guys can make any sense of it. I've made some sense of this, But this has raised a lot of questions, but it's also given us a lot of answers. Just give me 1 second, guys. Humor me for a second and let me see if this will work, because I remember these were in here from the boss of Ascension. I guess it's not doing anything. I don't see any text underneath them. I don't see anything like that, unfortunately. What about down right here, however? Because I do know there are more of these. Yeah, right here. And do you have anything? You don't. Well, don't you suck. Damn, I was really hoping those things would actually have some kind of message to decode. So from what I understand and the Ark storyline so far, there was a great war, and around the time this war was happening, or potentially even the corrupted creatures attacking the city, they were sending out alerts and working on Project Arat Prime. Now, we believe Arat Prime is where... it's on the other side of the planet, obviously, but it's... in biblical nature, Arat Prime is where Noah's Ark was supposed to have landed, you know, and all life was saved and religion stuff and all that fancy stuff, right? Well, in Ark's storyline, Arat Prime may be the launching place of the Arks, where they actually launched the Arks and they were working on bringing the Ark network to life and really, I guess, making a way for us to return to the planet once the corruption had subsided. Most likely, the scenario is not only is there conflict between humans, but there is also conflict between the corruption that has inhabited the planet and more or less destroyed most of everything around. It's probably more fair to say that the majority of this conflict is a human versus human conflict over the element resource. Obviously, as we started to fly around and read some of the lore and what these buildings had to offer, we found out that there were Gamma citizens. I assume there would also be Beta and Alpha citizens who had different tiers. It seems like it was like a tiered civilization structure where you had your Gamma citizens, then your Beta citizens, Alpha citizens, so on and so forth, and perhaps even Homo Deus, which would be, I guess, the top tier of humanity. Arat Prime was also something very heavily focused on in the, I guess, important lore of Sanctuary and what messages it had to give us. Moving on from what we've learned so far from the city and what secrets it held, we do have some more information that came from multiple people, Felix and Connor as well. So let's go down through this now. Felix and Anthomnia. I just watched Anthomnia's video and I believe that you are indeed correct with your views on where the game is heading. I am sending you this email because I have studied both Ark's lore and the lore around Noah's Ark. I believe that what Anthomnia said in his video, the beginning is the end and the end is the beginning, comes true here. In the book of Genesis, the God of Christianity gave Noah a job to preserve humanity, much like what Arks are doing, but the key word is Ark in both stories. The Arks were used to save humanity, which is a very fair point. The Arks are what we used in this case to save humanity, and the Arks returned home, as Helena said, and, well, that's basically that. I believe that many things in Ark are symbolic of the original story of Noah's Ark. The first thing I noticed in the Bible was that before Noah's time, it talked of great violence. After the flood, the earth had a time of peace which didn't last. When humans discovered Element, there was peace. That also didn't last. In the final cutscene of Ark, we are taken away into a multicolored light, almost like a rainbow enveloped us. In the Bible, a rainbow was used as a symbol of peace. I believe that the stress and the effort of killing the King Titan were too much, and we became a Homo Deus. And the multicolored light is a symbol that we are finally at peace. I believe that this means that the fight is up to the survivors that were from the Arks. The fight is left up to them. The other main point I want to make would be relating to the whole end is the beginning. Besides creation in the Bible, the flood is looked at as a new starting point. The beginning. The Ark is believed to have landed at Mount Arat, so the survivors would be traveling back to one of the beginnings of the human race to protect it from its end. That came from Connor, and I do believe that tying in with everything we have uncovered so far and the potential for Ark 2 or potentially another Ark DLC, granted they're allowed to do that legally and they want to, I strongly believe this could be a point right here where we do have to go back to this place and protect all of creation. I also just wanted to take a moment here and mention that I was speaking to Syntac about this, and his belief is that if we do have something themed on the other side of the planet, seeing as there was no heat really for the past couple hundred years or so, most likely it's going to be frozen and super cold on this side of the map, and also there would be a lot of darkness and potentially no light at all, to be honest with you, because we know that the Earth basically has no rotation, and that was caused by the element burrowing into the Earth itself and then taking the heat and the power of the core to power its own motives and stuff like that, basically. Again, I explained all of this in my last video. You should check it out. Connor's idea behind this and biblical nature of Ark and the story branching out from, I guess, religion and stuff. I don't know how you guys are going to feel about this, actually, because I know religion is a touchy subject, and I want to avoid religion as much as possible because I don't need that kind of controversy on my videos, but we're going off of the fact that, you know, they share similarities, and that's undeniable. There are a lot of similarities between biblical lore and Ark's story. Felix went on to tell me that he appreciated the email and the theory, and then he went on to say, I feel, however, it uses a more literal take on scripture than I expect the devs were thinking of. I think Eret Prime is the facility used to construct or launch Arks into orbit, either that or launch the mission to build them in orbit. We know a lot was created in the Extinction map given how advanced that civilization was. And there was a library as well that Helena had used to, I guess, find out everything about the Arks and the reseed protocol and all of that fancy stuff. However, they could not possibly be the source of the Ark's construction or the missions that they had to carry out with Eret Prime. The possible mission to defeat Rockwell in the Fallen Aberration Ark may require we find out why Aberration was different from its construction at Eret Prime. We have no idea where May and Diana eventually die, while Diana writes a farewell before leaving the map zone and saying if we find it, it's up to us to finish what Titans remain. It's possible we will find the very last of their notes in a final map. In response to the effects from beating the final boss, it is suggested we have ascended to Homo Deus, which may then explain if the next chapter is on a new engine or Ark 2 as the map. Felix also goes on to explain some things about white light and how Homo Deus can absorb just huge amounts of information and how they would have to be able to do that, and their perception of time may change as well, seeing as they've ascended to a higher life form, if that makes sense. If we have to ascend similar to Helena, it's easy to explain why we need new survivors to play as, and the new game to be announced maybe in a year or two after major bug fixes, or as a direct action to accept that they may not be able to fix meshing cascades in game mechanics efficiently for PvP and official communities. So more or less this would actually roll over into Ark and the next perspective game happening within the storyline. The storyline really drives where the game is going, and we've seen that expansion after expansion after expansion, and until we have a definitive end, we can't really say that we've quote-unquote beaten the game. We've only beaten what we've gotten so far, but it's not the true ending of Ark. Ultimately, the question is this: how important is Eret Prime, and what was Eret Prime used for? Was it actually the launching hub for the Arks and the Ark program in general, and their reseed protocol, or is it something else? And in the ending of Ark, well, in Extinction at least, when we see Aberration and where it's landed, did that land near Eret Prime? And is Rockwell aware of what Eret Prime is if he is the final boss as well? We've got a lot of questions, very few answers, but I mean, at least we're a step ahead of the game, I think. I strongly believe there's going to be another Ark series. I think they're going to branch out, maybe create a new game engine or try to fix the engine they currently have, because we know how horrendous things can be with Ark and how Ark started and where they've made it to today. And logically speaking, a game that's made so much money, you don't just stop making that game. That you don't just bury the hatchet like that and well, that's it. We've made our money. Let's go. No, you continue on and you make more money. Obviously, that's what they want to do. They want to keep people employed at Studio Wildcard. They want to keep making things. And as a consumer, that's probably the best outcome that they could have. And knowing that and knowing the lore of the game and where things are pointing, we don't have a definitive end, and you don't, like, when you make something, you don't leave it on a question. You never see a movie really end on a serious question. You usually get a fulfilling ending that ultimately answers anything that you really wanted to know, unless it's a really crappy movie. I don't think ARK is going to be a really crappy movie. I think they're going to try and spin the story a little bit now and move into something else or another franchise. There is some talk that Atlas will be their main focus. I don't see how Atlas will be their main focus, but we'll have to wait and see. And I'm willing to bet, to be honest with you, during the production of Extinction, they probably had a small team working on something else for past Extinction and what they want to have done there. Guys, that is it for now on everything I have for you when it comes to ARK. This may be the last lore video I do. I kind of just want to play the game for a bit now and show you guys some cool things. I do know I have to go down through the One Who Waits Explorer notes. I'll be doing that soon, and that's going to be something completely different from Arat Prime. But that's it, guys. Leave a like if you enjoyed it, and definitely let me know if you made any sense of the numbers and letters and the residences that we saw on the, I guess, holograms within Sanctuary. All right, I'll see you guys in the next video.